Well, you know, it's a good thing that the music business has a Richard Marx, because you always wrote songs with special meaning. You know, the words, the stories, the songs, we talked about that earlier, they have meaning. There's something to it, substance. A lot of music today is lacking.
I mean, I think there's still plenty of great music out there and really great songwriters. I just think that the whole concept of it, the vying for the attention of the average person, we've all been sort of conditioned to be ADD, all of us. There's just too much to do. And when we, like I was saying, you know, when we were, you know, in our formative years in terms of like hearing music, we weren't answering emails while we were listening to the Peter Gabriel So record. We weren't on our Blackberries. We were sitting in front of the speakers, soaking in every note and every word. And I don't think you can really do that. I can't even do it. And I'm a huge fan. But I'll buy a new CD that I'm excited about, and I might not listen to it for a week. And if I do, I might be answering emails while I'm listening to it. It's just affected all of us that way.
Yeah, times have changed.
Yeah,
those old pink message pads. Remember Message Who Called?
Sure.
Isn't that way anymore?
But I do hear stuff out there. You know, including my buddy here. I mean, you know, Matt is one of the great songwriters out there right now.
Vertical Horizon started in, 91, I guess, and y'all met at Georgetown University here in D.C.
Yeah, we lived in Washington, D.C., and we lived in the D.C. area for about 8 or 9 years. This part of the country was amazingly important to us in terms of building this band and doing what we do. So, yeah, it's great to be back.
And I bet you when you were with Vertical Horizon back in the 90s and recorded that song, Everything You Want, you were never imagining you'd be touring and singing with Richard Marx.
No, actually, I used to listen to Richard's records, you know, when I was really trying to learn about songwriting, and I learned an awful lot from them. And also the guitar playing on his records was always pretty amazing. This guy, Mike Landau, one of my favorite guitar players. So, yeah, no, it's been a strange journey and a wonderful one, because I get to make music for a living, and so it's just the most amazing thing, you know.
And the tour is acoustic. It's just you two guys.
Yeah, it's just us.
Yeah, and it's not even really like this is a tour. We actually just get together for a long weekend every couple of months just to be together and hang out, you know, and go to restaurants that we like. And it's so low key. It's not at all the typical thing. And I love going on the road with my band. I really do. But there's a lot that is involved. You know, lots of gear, lots of people, lots of stuff. You know, and with Richard, it's like we just, you know, Billy comes along and
we get in an SUV.
Yeah, the three of us hang out.
We book 3, 4, in this case 5 shows, all within 140 miles of each other, and we just hang out for a week and play shows. It's not we can't call it a tour, because we're not on tour, and then we won't play. We don't have another duo show until we go down. And those aren't even duo shows, but we're going to play together in Brazil. He's going to come and play with me in Brazil in June. So I mean, it's just really one of those things. We're so, and it's never lost on us how blessed we are to be able to go. Yeah, let's just go play for a week, and people come and they're amazing, and it's such. We call it vitamins.
Yeah.
You know, it's vitamins on every level. Because we're such great friends and we don't see each other that much. So it's our time to hang and be bros, you know. And it's vitamins because we get to just sit and tell stories and get this amazing affection from these people that come to hear us play.
And it must be nice to be at a point in your career where you don't have to go out on the road if you don't want to, where you're not being forced as a part of, we got a new album, you got to promote it.
Larry, I'm telling you, man, every morning I wake up and I'm grateful for that. I really am.
Speaking of shows, you just did some shows in India. I was checking out your website, and I watched the video that you posted, the video blog, in a taxi, talking about on the way to the show with the Backstreet Boys, and then, you know, after the show at the hotel, you were sitting on the balcony.
Right.
And you said, well, there were some snafus, some things.
Oh, yeah. But no more than I've experienced in, you know, Sioux Falls at an outdoor show. I mean, you know, things go wrong at big outdoor shows, you know, when there's a huge amount of people and it's a big thing. And these were big outdoor shows. And me and the Backstreet Boys, which makes total sense to no one, but it was fun. They were great, and I was just laughing. I was thinking, you know, they should have sponsored the tour as Backstreet Boys and their dad, you know, or something. But it was really good fun, and the people in India were so. It was the first time I've ever played there, and I felt almost ashamed because I really didn't know that the songs were popular there, you know? I mean, because as you know, a lot of people don't realize this. No artist books their tours. We don't do that. We have people that do that for us. And all these 20-something years of recording, nobody ever sent me to India to do shows. And I got over there finally, and they sang every word of every song I played. So I felt like, I'm sorry it's taken me so long. I didn't know.
Well, you're loved all around the world. I mean, you know, when I first met you...
And reviled as well.
No. There's more love than anything else. But I know that, you know, when I first met you was Hong Kong, and we did an interview that was in Hong Kong. It was also in China as well, because it aired in China. And
I've been to China several times.
And Germany. And you're going to play in Taiwan soon?
We're going to Taipei next weekend,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
First time in a long time. First time in almost 20 years.
Want to catch up with you and find out where you're going and what you're doing, there's a website, I imagine.
Yeah, it's weird. It's brianadams.com, but it's richardmarx.com.
And, Matt, you have a website too?
Yeah, verticalhorizon.com.
Train.com.
That's one of the things I like, you know, about you guys is that you have fun. You know, Richard is a very funny guy, a really, really funny guy. Now, any regrets if you look back at the career and you say, you know, something I would have done differently, or
just the mullet, just the mullet.
That was it. I didn't want to go there.
No, you know, and I wasn't. God knows I wasn't the only one.
Right.
No, none.
You should check out those Bono pictures. Like, Bono was rocking the mullet.
Oh, yeah.
The mullet was so
Bono invented it, along with Mel Gibson and Lethal Weapon, way before me.
Yeah. The mullet was strong.
In all seriousness, I don't have a single musical regret. I don't have a song in my catalog where I'm like, oh, my God, what was I thinking? I mean, there are obviously songs that don't hold up for me as well as some others do, but there's no song I'm, like, ashamed of, you know? But I think my biggest regret is that in the first 5 years, when it was firing on all cylinders, 24 hours a day, nonstop touring, nonstop singles, and I regret it, but I couldn't have changed it. It was that it is a blur, and not because I did any drugs, because I didn't do any drugs, but I did not know. I was too young to understand how to live in the now. And I was always thinking about the next record, and I remember being in Australia, Larry, and getting the word, the telegram actually, that my album had gone to #1 in America. We'd worked so hard to try and get a #1 album, and I was in Australia touring, and I don't even think we went out and maybe we had dinner together that night or something, but there was no real, in my mind, it was, instead of being so in the moment, my next thought was, well, how do we stay #1 another week? What do I need to do? We need to work harder. That's how type A I always was, and I regret that I didn't just enjoy that time. But everybody I talk to that has those whirlwind periods of success, they pretty much all concur.
It's kind of like a blur. It went by so fast.
Yeah.
You know, 20 years goes by.
You're doing the work, you know.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, the work is much more fun and much more rewarding than the climb is always better than the top. The climb's really fun.
I'm waiting for a Richard Marx show on American Idol. When are they going to have Richard Marx songbook?
They asked me once a couple of years ago, and I was touring in Australia, actually. And it was a choice between bailing on shows in Australia and doing that show, and I don't even watch that show. And I know it's huge, but I'm not a huge fan of that show. I don't think it's done great things for the music business. I think it's lowered the bar a lot. I think what people now perceive as being good singing or great singing is not right. Just because you sing loud doesn't mean you sing well.
Right.
And I don't know what that show really does for artistry. And if you think about it, you think about the number of singers that show has paraded in front of us for 9 years. And coming out of that show are 3 careers. Chris Daughtry, Carrie Underwood, Kelly Clarkson. That's it. That's not a huge batting average. So I'm not a huge fan of that show.
Now, Daughtry wouldn't be as big as he is if it weren't for songwriters like you.
No. He's done really well. He's a really good songwriter.
Right.
Really good songwriter.
But you have given him a few gems.
No. I just wrote a song with him on this last project, but I've been doing more writing with him. We wrote a song on the new Lifehouse record with Jason Wade, which I'm really, really proud of.
Yep.
But no, Chris is a guy that can just go in a room and write a really good song all on his own, and that's rare these days.
And Hugh Jackman, what did you write for Hugh Jackman?
I did some recording with him a few years ago, because that's how we met, actually. This label that he was involved with asked me to come and work with him, and then he and I just became pals. And we're going to do something together musically, but we have to fit it in between X-Men movies and Broadway plays because he's so busy. But in fact, I have to play you. Matt and I wrote a song last year that all of a sudden I thought, wow, I wonder if Hugh would like this song. Maybe this would be a good song for him to do. So I sent it to him. And yesterday I have the voicemail. He called and he sang the first verse.
Great. That's great. That's great.
So yeah, he's an amazing guy and a really great talent. And he's yeah, we'll make a record one of these days, but we're not going to tell anybody when we do it. We're just going to be like, oh yeah, here's some Hugh Jackman music that's going to blow your mind.